Good morning, brothers and sisters. Today we're going to talk about the power of now. There was a guy, I saw him on Oprah a long time ago, who wrote a book called The Power of Now. I totally believe in the power of right now. And I tried to read some of his book, and he came that close, again, to giving the credit to God. Instead, he gave all the credit to himself and to the human condition of brilliance. The power of now, we don't have, and I know you've heard this before, we don't have 5 minutes from now. 5 minutes ago, that's gone. All we know about time is what we experience within it at this very second. I'd like to really see somebody explain it to me who didn't speak to me with me assuming that I'm ignorant and have no concept because they're so smart and being spoken down to. How do y'all like that? 63 years old, still get people speak with this absolute authority that they know something for a fact. I have a lot of things here. I'm going to read it off my printed paper, but I've worked on this for a while. And it's come to me that there's no reason to do these podcasts unless this helps someone get to Jesus Christ, God, and the Holy Spirit. There's just no point for me. This is what I am supposed to do. I'm not supposed to argue about anything. I'm not a prophet. I'm not an apostle. But there's something interesting. You'll see on the icon that you clicked on, there's a grandfather clock, and I saw something that was really interesting. It says instead of the clock saying tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, it should say now, 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 now. And then I found another one written by an ancient. I love studying the ancients because all the new teachings today are just full of it. They're full of themselves, self-promotion. And when you read the ancients, it's something that stood a test of time. Not somebody from the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s. But one of the greatest gifts the enemy can take from you is the present. One of the worst things a Christian can say isn't the word no, later. I'll do it later. I'll do it tomorrow. So let's go through a little scripture here. God says, I am. Not I was, not I will be. He says, I am. We sit here and second by second you live your life. You don't live, like I just said, you don't live minutes from now. You don't live in the past. It's gone. It's gone. You live right this second. So you have decisions to make right this second. The brother of Jesus said, oh man, life is a vapor. And obedience in this very second is where freedom and joy are found. You are fighting experience on a second by second happening. There's better words for that. But the power of now means you do things now. The other day, I didn't want to get up. The night before, I had said, I got all this stuff I got to get done in the morning. And then I got up in the morning and I went, I just don't want to do this. And the birds were chirping. I can hear them right outside my window. I've got a nice little forest behind me. And conviction hit me, and I said, I need to talk to God and get motivated and get going, because this is what this old man's got to do. So when you're sitting there and you're young, so much more blessed are you if you are paying attention to the Word of God and you have Him written on your heart. Also, I've got this right over my door. Pray about everything, worry about nothing. Today forbids anxiety about tomorrow. Redeem our time now with love. It also guilt conscience. Being saved means, you still have a conscience. But don't look back. Don't turn your hand from the plow and look back because you aren't worthy of the kingdom. You have to realize God took those. God took them. But also puts you in debt to forgive your brothers and sisters and to forgive anyone. Forgive your enemies. Jesus did it. And always ask, say, if the Lord wills. Yeah, good old Tolle. He's the one that wrote The Power of Now. It was really good. I mean, the first page, and if you would have just put God in there. But I'm looking at a whole bunch of different things that I wrote. But like I said, this podcast is more about getting you curious, realizing that you don't have to enter the battle that you see presented on YouTube, on social media, where everything's a fight so that they can get viewers. In fact, I hate the word followers. That is a disgusting term. It should be subscribers. But of course, it's put down as followers. But I look at those and I go, how many people is this leading to Christ? These arguments about dogma, about church diversity. Until you remove all that between you and Jesus, you won't get to him. If you're going to go plow through that, I have people in my own family say, well, I go to work and people go to church on Sunday, and then they come in and they want to preach to us, and yet they do terrible things and they say terrible things because they think they're better because they went to church on Sunday. Well, that's not now. That was then. That's next Sunday, if you make it to next Sunday. You know, the future, they always say, the motivational speakers, the future is built on the present, what you do now. Well, that's true. But what are you building? Are you building a house on sand? Or are you building a foundation? I have people right now that I know of that are offered really good jobs to go work. And they make statements, oh, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go learn AI. And I'll be running those people. You don't just jump to the top. You have to work for it. That's why when you see a guy who's laying bricks or pouring concrete, you better pay attention. I think I've told this story before. I used to sell chairs at air shows, made really good money. Well, the Thunderbirds were there. It's an Air Force jet team. And this older lady, at the time I was a lot younger man. This was back in the mid to late 90s. And her daughter-in-law was behind her, and she came up and she goes, see that umbrella? You should give that to me. I'm like, what? She goes, without my son flying that plane, there wouldn't be a show. And I looked at her and I said, ma'am, without the guy bringing those portalets, there wouldn't be a show because no one would come. And the daughter behind her, the daughter-in-law, was just laughing and looking at me going, yeah, yeah, yeah. And the daughter-in-law came back later on and bought her an umbrella. The lady walked away. So you have to watch what you're doing every second. You know, the future is built in the present. So you build on things that you learn. And I realized that the people, and I've dug ditches and I've poured concrete and I've handled block and I've cleaned several hundred toilets in 1 week because I ran a cleaning company division, and when the lead janitor didn't show up, guess who got to clean it? Me. So the future is built on the present. And the only time you can obey God, I love this one. The only time you can obey God is right now. Not then. Oh, I'll do it later. I'm going to go ahead and do this sin now, God. And don't worry about it. Forgive me, God. And you go on. There's a section, I'm reading Hebrews right now, and it was very difficult for me to understand. Today, if you hear his voice, do not harden your hearts. Difficult passage. I'm not even going to try to explain it now. But in Hebrews, it keeps repeating, not yesterday, not someday, today. If you start building your foundation now, You build every day. You carry your cross every day. You endure. Get up and pray to endure the next hour, the next day. It matters. Later is the enemy of obedience too. How many times have you said, I'm going to the gym? Oh, I'm going to do that paper. I'll get that work done here in a minute, and stuff comes up and you don't do it. And then what does your boss say? What do people that depend on you say? Fail. Ancients, let me tell you a little bit about ancients. They're gone. They're dead. They spent all their time studying this beautiful world that God has given us, the world of the Word. And I have an idea. It's the deeper I go, the deeper I go. Apply yourself. I'm going to say this over and over and over again. There's so many teachers out there that are misleading people, and people are allowing themselves to be misled because they won't do their own investigation. This is your soul. This is your life. It's getting to where I can't even watch movies anymore, period. Because they show the revenge scene, and it's like the person that gets revenge finds new love. Family's wiped out. Somebody helps them, and they find new love, and they go on to the next life. Well, everybody's dead. Let me tell you a story about now. So I hear the story about a person that I used to work with. Very energetic person, very on top of it, very cocky. And they were on top of the world, making money at a young age. Had all the stylish stuff, the nice sunglasses, the nice Jeep. And I run into somebody, and they said that this person is dead. And the story is, for some reason, they were on the interstate, and they not the interstate, a 4-lane road. We're in Tennessee. And 4-lane roads can have trees right near them. Well, this person veered off the road, out of control, hit a tree, died. Because I'm pretty sure they were in their Jeep. And I believe there were children involved at home with the spouse. And everybody was, oh my gosh, they're dead. Oh, this is so horrible. Well, the law made their investigation. The timestamp on the text messages were right as the accident had started to happen. They were text messaging their affair partner. So the spouse had to deal with this person that they loved. Their death. The children losing their parent. And then finding this out. Dying from the text message being sent. They probably thought, oh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to live 2 lives. You're not even living 1 life. Think about what it is you want to live. Think how you want to live. There's a sense of urgency in this message. Today, God speaks continuously. I don't even want to get into this, but drifting, you might have even found the Lord already and you're drifting away. You wake up in the morning, you don't know what to do. God is the only thought you can grab onto. See, I'm going to start a podcast called Drifting. And the reason is I woke up one morning not long ago worried about money. I solved the problem, but it bothered me because I thought about money before I thought about God. And in that second, I knew where secret sin abided. The very doubt I gave in, and I know that we sin continuously all day. We're treasonous. We all commit thousands of sins a day. As many times as your heart beats, you sin. Your thoughts are there. Okay. My obedience should have been, and my practice should have been, God, thank you. I'm waking up. Do as you will with me today, God. Give me this day my daily bread, what I need to get through. Do your will here on earth as you do in heaven. Forgive me for my sins. And I really and truly do forgive others for their sins against me, whether I see them or I don't. Whether I know of them or I don't. Freedom from your enemy. Okay. From your enemy's thoughts in your mind. Forgive your enemy. It even says in the word about loaning money. You don't loan it, you just give it. If you can afford it. All those little processes during the day add up to who you are. God speaks continuously. You're getting real trouble, not by refusing God, but postponing obedience. I told this little parable to a couple friends of mine about fence sitters, people that never make a decision. Be very, very wary and careful. Let's just use an analogy. There's city A, city B, city C. City A and C are getting ready to go to war. They're going to fight it out. They're both looking at city B, the one that's sitting on the sidelines. Hey, whose side are you going to come in on? Well, that third party sitting over there. Hey, you guys fight it out. I'll figure it out down the road somewhere. So city A and city C fight it out. They're exhausted. Neither one of them wins or one of them wins. City B looks at it and goes, I can take them both right now. And they do. Think. There's a process. God has given us a process, and one of them is thought. And you have thoughts every second. Millions of thoughts a day. Literally, probably. I wish I had my computer ready for this, but I've made so many notes on it, and there's so much I haven't even told you today. But here's one. Here's a good one here that came out. God speaks in today, not someday. God makes a promise, it happens. I think I've covered more than enough. Obedience in present time. Jesus says, do not be anxious about tomorrow. Sufficient for the day is its own trouble. How many times have you thought you were going to have a horrible experience and for some reason it doesn't happen? And you're like, wow. There's lots and lots of parables about this. There's a parable about a man that owed a king, what I think a guy said, it was like $1 million in that money back then. And the king said, you know what, today I'm going to forgive you. Go on your way. And the guy's like, oh my gosh, he thought he was going to be thrown in jail for life. But for some reason, the king spared him. And then he's going down the road and he sees somebody that owes him $50 and just trashes the guy. Goes to have him thrown in jail, beats him, berates him. King finds out. What do you think the king did? Again, that person at that second could have made a decision that affected the debtor's life positively, his life positively, and would have upheld the king's word, especially the king's forgiveness. This is not the best that I thought about this podcast and what I was going to tell you about the power of now for a long time. And this is difficult. Very, very difficult. There's too much going on, and our brains are firing all the time. A second's worth of peace is worth more than gold. It really is. I love my peace. I love my quiet. I've got to where I barely listen to music with words anymore, and I listen to very calming music. I don't care what age you are. I still get people that want to listen to rock and roll from high school days. And I'm like, they go, "Oh, I love this song. I've heard this song 15,000 times. Why do I need to hear it again? Why not listen to the word? Why not read the word, which you've never read? Because you're going to be held accountable for reading it." Yeah, The Power of Now, the book that was written, it really, really broke down a lot of things that I could have gone into and stolen all kinds of information. But what are you doing now? This podcast is about getting you to understand there doesn't have to be anybody between you and Jesus Christ. The day of just hearing, because you can't read, or back a long time ago when they only had fragments, you had to trust a priest, a pastor, a teacher to get it right and not manipulate your mind. They found fragments. The word became written. When the word was originally brought, when Jesus and Paul were there, the illiteracy rate was almost 100%. Very, very, very few people throughout the kingdoms there could read. Then you got to the point where people could read. And then I believe the printing press was invented in the 1400s. The word was then circulated. It's the most printed object in the world, printed book in the world. So we go from hearing to seeing the word, to reading the word, mass seeing the book of works that comprise the Bible, to seeing it on TV, to something called Google, to something called AI. It's been made way too easy for you to access it. The enemy's not worried. Less than 1% use AI to deep research the word, or to even ask it questions. People would rather just go and say, what's he say? What's he say? What's he say? Oh, well, he must be right. He must be right. And you're cast about like a ship on the ocean. I'm going to get in trouble for talking about AI like I do, but it has opened worlds for me in the word. It's not a replacement. It's a tool. Your eyes are a tool. Your ability to read, that's another tool given to us. The written word, those are tools. Those are made to serve us. Those letters and words serve our knowledge. Two-edged sword. AI, Google, how do you want to use it? Playing video games all day, which add up to nothing? What you can do right now is pray. Ask God, point me in the right direction. Give me revelation. Give me revelation of the word. Where do I go? Where do I start? AI is an impersonal tool that you can use as your own teacher and your own tutor, and you don't have to let a person who has all kinds of hang-ups, hidden problems, hidden agendas, they bring their politics, they bring their sexual attitudes into your teaching. I don't care what your sexual attitude is or your political, you can push it all away. Say, you know what, let me look at this myself. It's about building curiosity, investigative need, some detective work, The word is too important not to pay attention to that. So what are you doing right now? You got a phone. Ask the questions. I'll get back with you shortly. This is only part one. Somewhere down the road, I'll redo this. Like Paul says, by this time you should be eating solid food. Instead, I've got to re-wean you. I got to give you milk again. These fields need to be replowed over and over and over again. I'll get back to you shortly.